Joining us now in the studio is the curator of Museo ng Kahapon in Mandaluyong City. He's also known as the Filipino Picker and Voltes 5 collector, Kyle Jianan. Thank you so much for joining us, Kyle. Legend has it that the show was yanked off the air a few episodes before the finale because the Marcos administration reportedly did not like the rebellion theme. The official reason was that the excessive violence was not good for children. Joining us now in the studio is the curator of Museo ng Kahapon in Mandaluyong City. He's also known as the Filipino Picker and Voltes 5 collector, Kyle Jianan. Thank you so much for joining us, Kyle. You know what? I was born in the late 1960s, and I'm a big fan of Voltes 5. So just like myself and other kids with me during that time, we were angry, frustrated, and disappointed that the final episodes of Voltes 5 were taken off air. What was the feeling then among all the kids during that generation?
It was like, you mentioned kids, no? So
the kids are no longer kids.
Yeah.
They're all my age now.
Yeah, I mean,
in their 50s.
Like any kid that experiences anything that he or she loves being stopped, no? So it's like a feeling of anger talaga. So for whatever reason, but at times like that, you would always think of your parents. If your parents were telling you this is not good, you think it's okay, but they think otherwise. So as kids, especially back then, you would really listen and follow. So more of disappointment instead of anger, if you ask me. But of course, anger also.
Anger,
you're
right?
A kid. You're a kid.
You're a kid watching Voltes 5
Yes.
every Friday, and then
Yeah.
it's just taken off the air.
Yes.
So, Kyle, what was the real score? What really happened? Why was Voltes 5's final episodes banned? Was it because of excessive violence or the rebellion angle?
As a collector, I'll do it on a collector standpoint.
Okay.
The excessive violence would check in on me. It's okay if that's the reason, because we were watching cartoons like at that time, Mickey Mouse. The level of violence were on the funny side.
That's right. Even
Yes.
like the Sesame Street.
Yes. So my point is maybe anything that is a first or a game changer. That's why it became the Holy Grail, because it's a game changer. So anything that has anything that would change the game or change the industry would always raise our eyebrows. So if some people felt that it was excessive violence, then I would say that that time it may have been excessive violence because the people watching it might not be ready for that kind of violence at that time. Right now, my kids watch all sorts of violence, but they don't seem to affect their
Way of thinking.
the way of thinking.
Their mindset.
But I'm not sure back then.
Yeah, because there's so much content now, and the content then was very limited, of course. Why was Voltes 5 such a popular Japanese cartoon compared to the likes of Mazinger Z, Daimos, and Makanda Robot? Were also very popular. But of course, Voltes 5 is an icon to many of us.
Yes. Well, like I said, it was a game changer. It had a lot of firsts on it.
What was different about Voltes 5? Why was it a game changer?
It was very appealing to the public. We're talking about kids who are trying to put down an empire. And we're talking about Lil Jon, people in costumes, not just robot, but actual people controlling the robot, wearing costumes. Now the kids at home, they want to play Lil Jon and everyone. So, it was a game changer. And if you watch the documentaries on Netflix and everything about how Power Rangers and the toys the toys that made us, Voltes 5 was really a game changer, not just in on TV but also with the toys. When they released the toys, it was very appealing to everyone. That's why in our community now, in the toy community and collectors community, those are two communities, it is a holy grail. And it's worth hundreds and hundreds of thousands.
Wow.
So compared to the other robots that you mentioned, which might fall on the 15,000, 12,000, and this one, Very far.
And of course, Voltes 5 continues to be manufactured until this day.
Yeah.
And of course, there are collector's items with Voltes 5 being manufactured way back in the 70s and the 80s. No?
Yes.
Do you still collect Voltes 5 memorabilia?
Yes. The original ones back in the 1978 era, those are the heavy, they call it poppy and godaikin, and very heavy steel. No,
Do they
unlike
still make those kinds today?
versions of it, but not exactly that one. So those are the ones that are called OGs, and those are the 200K, 300K, sometimes 1 million, if it's really mint. But now they're making the plastic versions, and of course the vinyl versions, those are the cheaper ones, and the newer ones, of course, and of course the Funko Pop is also there. But many collector's items when it comes to Voltes 5. The costumes, the helmets, everything.
You're a big collector, of toys. What is your earliest version of Voltes 5?
Actually, right now, it's in Museo ng Kahapon, that museum that I own in Mandaluyong. It's the exact one that my mom gave me back then when I was a kid. So it's the Godaikin, one of the OGs. So I was so happy because my mom was able to keep it. It's now in very rusty condition, but that's the one I displayed. I also have the better version because now that I'm working and I have my own money now, and I was able to buy the better version. But I would rather display in Museo ng Kahapon the one that has patina, we call it, the one with the memories, the one with more stories, and of course urban legends. Sir, I think it would come with any Holy Grail. I have an example, the bottle collections, the vintage bottles. I'm one of the admins there. We have a main bottle called Halili beer. It's considered the Holy Grail now because of many stories. There were other bottles that are rarer, but this one has a good story that it was asked to be broken before. Stuff just like this story. That's why it's the Holy.
And do you continue to collect? I mean, you already have the rare Holy Grail, Voltes 5, and other anime characters in your collection. Do you still need to collect today? I mean, you can basically stop your collection and say, I am happy with what I have at the moment.
Well, history is nonstop. So, like I always tell my kids, there are items here that I bought for 200,000, which I could have bought before for 5 pesos, and I regret that. I didn't save it. So I asked my kids to start collecting because someday they will really appreciate that they collected as early as now. Right now, there's no value, like Angry Birds, Minions.
But they'll be worth
something. Someday, you will regret not
Going
collecting
forward.
those. So, yeah.
And what is your message to the younger generation of collectors?
The younger generation of collectors, I suggest that always buy slow. When you are new and you have a lot of money, of course, usually, sir, the collectors will be the entrepreneurs, those who that just got successful in business or in any work, and then they have money, extra money. So you would be excited. That's the time that you will buy all the, things that you don't want, and people will keep selling you stuff that you don't need. So choose a genre, focus on it, and then expand from there. So whatever is nostalgic to you, I think that's the best one.
Voltes 5 collector Kyle Gianan, thank you so much for joining us for
Thank
this
you, sir.
CNN Philippines special presentation.
Thanks for having me, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll definitely visit your museum very
Yes,
soon.
it's open.
I'm a big toy fan.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
And this has been a CNN Philippines special presentation. Martial Law Fields, a throwback to 1972 to 1981. Thanks for joining us. I'm Rick. Glad you're staying with us for this CNN Philippines special presentation, a look back on the way of life during the martial law period. The Love Bus was among the icons on the road during the late 70s to the early 80s. It was considered the project of the former First Lady Imelda Marcos, who was also governor of Metro Manila. The love bus, which traveled to different areas in Metro Manila, symbolized comfort for commuters. Well, next to beauty pageants, this country was just as crazy about basketball. And perhaps martial law was the right time to introduce professional basketball. 1975 saw the birth of the Philippine Basketball Association. And the famed never ever equaled Toyota-Crispa rivalry. Who will forget that? Martial law was also known for a Filipino-made board game, Game of the Generals, invented by the late Ronnie Pasola Jr., made a huge splash, not just for the thrill it gave those who played the game, but the chills it sent down the spine of those who opposed the Marcos administration. The urban legend was that Game of the Generals, or GG, was meant to brainwash people into accepting martial rule and an overwhelming presence of the military in daily life. But the twist was that there were also rumors that the government thought GG was a subversive game. Neither was the case, of course. Paranoia was just an overdrive, and perhaps rightly so, with the killings and disappearances. Media institutions shuttered, their owners arrested. In 1978, GMA Television began airing weekday evenings at 6 o'clock in the evening, Japanese anime robot cartoons. Mazinger Z on Mondays, Daimos on Tuesdays, Mikanda Robot on Wednesdays, Grandizer on Thursdays, and Voltes 5 on Fridays. Voltes 5 is right here in the studio with us. In Voltes 5, Steve Armstrong and his team of young warriors, Jamie, Little John, Big Bird, and Mark, against the Bosanian Empire.